Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be taking a little look at r/malicious compliance. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in listening to today, then please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please, thank you. And of course, little disclaimer, any opinions that I give on these posts are just that. They are just my opinions, not to be taken as facts. If you have a different opinion, please do feel free to share it. Just make sure that you are being, respectful and not being mean to anyone in the comments just because they do not share the same opinion as yourself. With that being said, let's get into it, shall we? So this first one was posted by Jatinsuri332. You want a physical signature for every single requisition? Hope you bought a comfortable chair. Hey, myself, Ethan, and I work as a lead technician for a specialized... Okay, that doesn't make any sense to me. I think it's just my brain. For a specialised industrial firm where we handle heavy machinery repairs. Now, because parts are expensive and often custom ordered, our old system was simple. I'd email my manager, hey, we need a $4,000 hydraulic seal, and he'd reply, approved, and I'd order it. Quick, efficient, and everyone was happy. Enters Kevin. Of course it's a Kevin! Kevin is a new efficiency consultant turned director of operations. Kevin thinks email is for lazy people and decided that to curb unauthorised spending, every single requisition, regardless of cost, now requires a physical ink on paper signature on a specific Form 402, hand delivered to his office, and he's an efficiency consultant? Ha! Interesting. I told Kevin that this was a bad idea because we are a high-volume shop. On a busy Monday, I might order 40 different items ranging from $5 bolts to $10,000 engines. Kevin's response? If it's not signed by me in person, the company isn't paying for it. No exceptions. I don't care if it's a nickel or a grand. I want to see every request that crosses your desk. I realised Kevin didn't quite grasp what every request meant. I usually batch my orders or handle the small stuff, washers, lubricants, safety goggles, through a general shop fund, but not anymore. Monday morning comes. Instead of batching my needs into one list, I treated every single individual component as a separate requisition. Need 10 specific bolts? That's one form. Need a bottle of degreaser? That's a form. Need a replacement light bulb for the break room? Form. By 10 a.m, I had a stack of 64 individual forms. I walked into Kevin's office, he was on a conference call, I waited, and when he hung up, I laid the stack down. Kevin, what is this? Me, the requisitions for the morning. You said you wanted to see every request. I need these signed so I can get the shop running. It took him 20 minutes to sign them all because he insisted on reading each one. By the time he finished, I was back with 15 more. By Tuesday, he was visibly annoyed, and by Wednesday, the fallout began. Because I was spending half my workday walking back and forth to his office and waiting for him to finish meetings to get signatures, the actual repair work slowed to a crawl. 3 major clients called to ask why their machines weren't ready. The breaking point was the emergency overnight. A local plant had a massive failure and we needed a $12 O-ring to fix a $200,000 pump. Flippin' heck. It was around 4:45 p.m. Kevin had already headed out for a networking dinner. Now, under the old rules, I'd just buy it and get it reimbursed. But under Kevin's no exceptions rule, I couldn't. I told the client, I'm sorry, I don't have the authorization to purchase the part until it's physically signed off by the director. Oh, I bet the client was fuming. The client was furious. Told you. They called the CEO. The CEO called Kevin at his dinner. Kevin told the CEO he'd handle it in the morning. The CEO told Kevin to get his behind back to the office now. Kevin had to drive 45 minutes back to the office in his suit just to sign a single piece of paper for a $12 part. That's hilarious. The next morning, a company-wide memo went out. Digital approval via emails are reinstated for all items under $5,000. Kevin doesn't look at me anymore when I walk past his office. I still make sure to bring him a physical form for anything over $5,001. I always make sure to wait until he's right in the middle of a very important lunch. After all, he wanted to see every request. That is hilarious, but also it's just properly getting me how he's like the efficiency, what was it? Efficiency director or something like that, efficiency consultant, and he's making everything as inefficient as he possibly can. So then down in the comments, Veblen1 says, the old adage, if it ain't broke, break it. Yeah, that tends to be the Kevin's modus operandi, to be fair. Okay, next post posted by Dedo. I mean it, stay out the kitchen. Okay, if you say so. I started working at McDonald's. It's a job. My job is primarily service, which means I'm bagging the orders, making drinks, boxing fries, when cook staff is busy, handle customers, and cleaning. Today, my last hour during lunch rush, my manager told me to focus on customer orders. So when there was no more customers, I went back to help and got told to get out and focus on customers. I told her there was none, and she didn't care. She needs me out there. All right, then if you want me to stand there twiddling my thumbs and picking my bum, then that's on you, mate. I stand by the register for 5 minutes and go back again and get told the same thing, but she's more forceful this time. I mean it! You need to stay out of there. Okay, fine. So I stood there by the register for a whole hour, and my goodness, I bet that hour dragged. A customer was waiting for their bag that was right there, and I knew what she needed. She was getting upset, and I told her, I'm sorry, I would get that for you, but I'm not allowed back there right now. I ran out of medium cups and asked a co-worker to get them for me. She assumes I don't know where they are and offers to show me, so I say again, no, I know where they are. Manager doesn't want me back there right now. Someone else tells me that I need to give customers their drink cups even if they order on the kiosk. Again, I say, I would love to, but I'm not allowed to go back there and see what they ordered, so I don't know if they ordered a drink unless they tell me. It's been 30 minutes and I'm basically begging now to help because I'm so bored, but told again I'm needed out there. So I sit more and just wait for my shift to be over. Eventually a shift lead said that I need to help and not shrink my duty. What a joke. So I fully explained the situation to her and the general manager overheard, who said she would talk to the manager that told me that. My manager pulled me aside and apologised, saying she just felt overwhelmed, so that's why she kicked me out. I mean, at least she apologised, I suppose. Not many would, especially when you work in the food industry. The managers in there quite often tend to be bumholes who think themselves far above the station that they're in. So, down in the comments, Bunny Slayer 64 says, at least the manager apologised. That's not something you see every day in a fast food environment. Exactly. And then Brain Babe 1912 says, hell, it's not something one sees in most workplaces. That is true. To be fair, that is very true. Next post posted by NostraHawk9. New policy said every meeting needs a detailed agenda sent 48 hours in advance. So I sent one for everything. I work in a mid-sized marketing agency, maybe 60 people. Our director decided after a particularly chaotic quarter that meetings were out of control and that going forward, every meeting required a written agenda submitted to all attendees 48 hours before it started. No exceptions, or the meeting would be cancelled. Reasonable policy in principle. I took it literally. Weekly 15-minute team stand-up where we go around and say what we're working on. Agenda sent. Catching up briefly message from a colleague who wanted to chat about a project for 10 minutes. I replied them asking to send me an agenda 48 hours ahead, or we could schedule it for later in the week. My director asked me to pop by her office for 2 minutes, and I sent her a calendar invite with a formal agenda that said, Agenda Item 1, Director initiated discussion, estimated 2 minutes, expected outcome to be determined. Now, this is ridiculously petty and probably very awkward of the OP because, yeah, they even said themselves reasonable policy in principle. But yeah, I imagine they're just trying to show that the whole thing of saying no exception or the meetings would be cancelled just doesn't always work within an office environment, because sometimes it might be an emergency meeting that needs to be called. You ain't gonna have time to write an agenda 48 hours before. So yeah, I see what they're doing. Is it petty though? Oh yeah. Yeah. It's also kind of hilarious though. She called me on the phone to ask what I was doing. I said I was following the new meeting policy. She said it wasn't meant for things like that. I asked her where in the policy it specified which types of meetings were exempt. There was a pause. She said she'd clarify the policy, and that's the point I think the OP's trying to make here. I do get what they're getting at, because the thing is, within the workplace, you want everything to be extraordinarily black or white, because you do not want to then be held responsible for something that realistically you shouldn't have been getting in trouble for, because there is a big old vagueness within the contracts and the responsibilities and like the policies of the workplace, and then someone who maybe has got a stick up their butt with you that day has used that against you. So I do get what they're doing here. Like, ordinarily I'd be like, come on, do you have to be so awkward? But I understand what they're getting at. The clarification came 3 days later and included a list of meetings that were exempt from the agenda requirement. The stand-up was on the list. Informal check-ins under 10 minutes were on the list. Essentially, everything that I had been sending agendas for was now officially exempt. I have continued sending agendas for everything else though, which is now just good professional practice. So, down in the comments, Alvin Owlhurt says, one of our senior people always says, no agenda, no attender. He's a great guy, fully believes in following his own rule too. And then Camera Shy 2 says, at my previous job, one of the senior staff told us to send a plant in our place. Okay, then next post posted by Enken Linietto. Got that right in first try, didn't I? In the ground. Okay. As a military spouse, you find ways to keep yourself busy when your other half is deployed, especially when you're a subwife and it's weeks, if not months, of no emails. I got a notice while we were living in base housing during the pandemic that I could not have my garden in pots. Everything had to be in the ground. Seems like a bit of a stupid rule, but okay. Background, we were supposed to move, but then COVID happened. The gardening started pre-pandemic, but then I got more into it when I found out we couldn't leave. I originally did some basil, oregano, and tomatoes in pots, but got a notice that I couldn't have potted plants. Reason I was petty, I got notices for things like AC units still being in October 1st, but it was still in the mid-80s. However, if I needed them to do anything, it was like pulling teeth. A hornet's nest twice the size of a basketball. The fire department ended up taking care of it because they were tired of waiting. When the pipes burst in our house, they berated me, and the following conversation happened. Housing. If you're letting the dog pee in the house, there's going to be an extra cleaning fee. Me. Yes, I know my comment probably wasn't the right thing to say, but I was furious. 1. Even if he did pee in the house today, that sound was fucking loud and it probably scared him. 2. I have seizures. There are probably more piss stains and blood in the carpet from me than him. That almost got my husband to laugh. Not that a pissed off wife is funny, but long before the incident with the pipes, there were other small issues that after 4 years, I just ended up going. My garden goes in the ground. We're staying here 3 more years. I'm growing oregano and you're going to have to deal with it when I leave. It's been 2 years. I wouldn't be surprised if it has taken over half the front yard. You see, oregano can be very invasive and very difficult to get rid of, but tasty, of course. It really took root while I was there. I was constantly going out and, well, not pruning, just getting little sprigs for cooking. But when we left, I pulled up the little mini dividers that were keeping it from taking over the yard. They were going to have to get really creative to get rid of it. A recent phone call to my next door neighbour there. A new family has moved in, and when he told the wife what the plant was, she was ecstatic. So, plant's still there, and huge. So, down in the comments, the fluffiest Redditor says, I thought you were going to just bury the pots. Now that would have been hilarious and ingenious. I wish you had. And then Physical Piglet 47 says, and leave the holes when they moved. So, last post of the day, reposted by Small Menstrual Cup. I made my boss take the shit for his idiotic system to customers. So this was originally posted in r/anti-work. I work at a cafe where the owner is obsessed with maximising profit. We already charged extra for oat milk, syrup, takeaway cups, basically everything except breathing near the espresso machine. Not too bad. But one day he decided we were going to start charging for tap water. What? Not bottled water, tap water. Like someone buys a sandwich and asks for a glass of water, boom, 75 cents. Can they even do that? I don't think you're allowed to charge for tap water over here. Everyone on staff thought it was stupid, but he acted like he'd invented modern economics. He even printed little signs explaining how cups, dishwashing, and labour have costs. The funniest part was that he and everyone knew customers would hate this, which is fair. I would too if I was a customer. So, I decided that every single time someone asked me for tap water, I'd smile and say something like, oh, my boss actually handles all questions about the water policy. 1 second. And then I'd go get him every single time. Didn't matter if he was in the office, unloading stock, eating lunch, or pretending to do accounting on his laptop. If someone wanted free water, I summoned him like a cursed spirit. At first he'd come out all confident with his rehearsed explanation. Well, unfortunately, there are operational costs associated with, and customers would immediately hit him with, you're charging for tap water? Are you serious? I just spent €14 here. Every other calf gives it for free. Is this legal? I looked it up. It's not, lol. Meanwhile, I'd just stand there pretending to wipe the counters while enjoying the show. This went on for like 2 weeks before he completely lost it. One afternoon a few days ago, he pulled me aside and went, you need to stop bringing me out there for this. I said, but you made the rule. And he goes, yeah, but it's degrading having to explain it to customers all day. I genuinely had to look away so he wouldn't see me smiling. Also, okay, so you want your staff to feel degraded, but you're not okay with feeling like that? Like my brother in Christ, if explaining your own policy humiliates you, maybe the policy is the problem. Anyway, as for now, the tap water charge disappeared. No announcement, no apology. The little signs just vanished overnight like they'd never existed. Magical that, hey. Wonder how that happened. Still one of the funniest acts of malicious compliance I've ever committed. I love it. I love it. And yeah, holding people accountable for these stupid decisions that they make, that they then try and make other people take the blame for, it's just like, oh, it's music to my ears, honestly. So, down in the comments, Zureb1 says, "Is this legal? I looked it up, it's not, lol. I would have told the boss that it is illegal, showed him the statute, and stated that I'm not breaking the law for you." And then Coda Joe says, "The policy evaporated." Yes, it did. Yes. Honestly, like, you just know that, like, that guy is just possibly one of the worst bosses ever. When, like, those ones that are just so happy to throw their staff so far under the bus, ugh, like, the worst. I really hope that the OP can get a nice, shiny new job with a boss that isn't a massive turd in the bowl. Okay then, so I think that's all we've got time for today. If you made it to the end with me, then I thank you very, very much, and I appreciate you very, very much. If you pop a little like, subscribe, turn your notifications on, that'll be your initiation into the Coven of Void. Welcome. Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Don't forget to leave an offering of a comment for Big Al, because otherwise he's not going to have a very good rest of his day. And we don't want that now, do we? Bye!